Hello everyone, I'm Dorene Decibus from It Begins with Ink and Paper, and welcome to Simply Stamping Sunday. It was a perfect fall day here in New England, except the Patriots were crushed today, so that took a little bit of the perfect edge off of it, but otherwise it was a perfect day, and people were out getting pumpkins and apples at the orchard and going to craft fairs, so it was just a perfect fall day. I hope you had a perfect fall day too, wherever you are watching from. So this is week 2 of our Pick of the Patch simple stamping, and I just want to remind you that Simply Stamping Sunday, we just use ink, paper, and stamps, and nothing else. We do scissors, use scissors to cut some things out, and of course adhesive to put everything together, but this is going all the way back to the basics and just doing stamping for the fun of it and to make some great cards without having all the extra materials around. So if you have some kind of pumpkin set, or if you're lucky to have the Pick of the Patch, you can stamp right along with me. I put all of the measurements of the cardstock that you'll need today in the reminder about tonight's presentation, and I will also put all of the measurements in the comments under the video and in the description on YouTube, so you don't need to stop and try to catch up or be taking screenshots. I'll have everything there for you ready to go. So the Pick of the Patch set is a photopolymer set, which makes it nice because you can see through the stamps and see exactly where you're stamping and what you're stamping. And tonight, well, first let me go over what we did last week for week 1. We made this simple card. I have 2 of them here that look about the same, though when I stamped last week, I cut this down just to make it a little smaller. In my sample, I had it just a little bit bigger. I think I like it better, smaller, but they both look great. So this was the this was the card that we made last week. And this week we're going to do 2 cards. I have a bonus card. We're going to start by making a monochromatic card. So this card uses Cajun Craze all the way through the card. We're using some of the Designer Series paper, some basic white cardstock, and some Cajun Craze cardstock. Putting some white in the middle to have room to write a message and doing a little stamping on the inside. And we're going to do some background stamping with just the same color of ink onto the cardstock. So it will be pretty easy to go. I will show you our bonus card when we get to that. So let me just move this stamp set out of the way, and I'm going to make sure everything is coming in really well. Let me just refresh my page on my computer. I'm always worried that I'm way out of the screen, but no, it looks like I'm good. So let's get started. So the first thing that I need to do is do some stamping onto my Cajun Craze cardstock. So what I'm going to do first is just fold it. So I've already scored it so that it will fold easily. So here we go, and now I'm going to start stamping on the front. So I used the same size pumpkin, so I'm going to start with that. It is the smaller of the 3 main pumpkins that are, of the 4 main pumpkins that are there. It's not the smallest, but it's the second smallest. You just move this out of the way, and let's start stamping. So I'm just going to randomly stamp this all over the cardstock. I'm not going to worry about, we'll fix that there. I'm not going to worry about where I'm putting cardstock. I just want the pumpkins all over so that no matter what, you're going to see a pumpkin through and through. There we go. And I am going to clean my stamps tonight because we're going to be using some different colors when it gets to the second card. So I like to clean my stamps, I really like to use the Stampin' Scrub. It's sized for large stamps. It deep cleans because you have all these fibers. You have a spot that's wet. You can just spray water on it because our inks are water-based, and then a side to dry. So I really like using that as a cleaning tool. All right, so next I am going to be stamping on the front of the card the leaf, and then I'll do the vine afterwards. So I'm stamping all of this on each pumpkin. At least each pumpkin that we can see. And I'm just going to grab a paper towel, put some spray on it because I also got spray up. I got ink all over my hand. And I know if I don't try to clean some of it off, it is going to get on my project. That I can be rest assured. Sorry about that. Okay, so now we're going to add the little greenery. That it would be greenery most of the time, except in this monochromatic card. So I'm just adding that bit of fun. There we go. So now the outside of the card is all done. So let me start putting the piece that goes on top of it. So I have a piece. So this piece here is just our basic 8.5 by 5.5 piece of cardstock. And then what we're going to do is put this piece of designer series paper on it. Now when I do that, I see some empty space there that I don't like. So I am going to just add, let's see, what do I want to add? Well, maybe I'll just go, I just don't like leaving that space there. So let's put some leaves. And they're going to look funny coming out like this. But when we put on our piece of designer series paper, it won't look empty there. And that's what I'm looking for. So I'm going to grab my adhesive. And where did I put it? I just had it. Isn't that the way it always goes? There it is. Something always gets on top of something on my stamp desk. Does that ever happen to you where you're stamping and, you know, something was right there in my hand or your hand and it just disappears? That is definitely how things work for me. So I double stamped this pumpkin and it kind of looks funny. That's why I want to kind of get that off. But I can put this piece anywhere I want. And now I don't have that empty space there, and I think that looks so much better. Okay, so next we're going to be stamping this smaller piece of cardstock. And I want to do some masking, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that. I'm going to take this same, let me make sure I want to use the same pumpkin. Yep. I'm going to take this, and the first thing I'm going to do, just so it's out of the way, is I'm going to stamp the Happy Halloween towards the top corner. Good thing there is two sides of a piece of paper. There we go, much better. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp 2 of these pumpkins. I'm going to stamp them so that if you look, just want to show you what I'm doing. I have 1 pumpkin in the back. So I'm going to stamp 1 pumpkin right on the edge here. And I'm going to stamp a 2nd pumpkin. Now, what I have already done is I stamped these pumpkins earlier, and I made something called a mask. So I stamped them and I cut them out. And now I am going to put the mask over these pumpkins. And what's going to happen when I stamp, I'm going to stamp this pumpkin a little higher. When I take my masks off, it's stuck right there. I just keep them in my case. You can see now that I have 3 pumpkins, and it looks like I have 2 in front and 1 in the back. So that's exactly what I wanted. So that is a cool technique to use. Sometimes you can use, you certainly can use sticky notes if you want. You can certainly use just, regular scraps of cardstock to make your masks. That is fine. I always cut my mask just a little smaller than it actually is, so that it doesn't, it just, I think, looks a little bit better. Okay, so now let's just be stamping our this is a very juicy pad. And get some of this vine in. There we go. Okay, so this, I'm just going to make sure it's dry. This is going to go on the front of the card. So we go back to our card, and I am going to put it over just like this. And now for the inside of the card, I am going to just repeat all the stamping. Like I said, this is going to be just a monochromatic card, just using all the same colors for everything. It can be a really nice look. And there we go. Actually, I don't like that. So like I said, it's always good to have that we have 2 sides to a piece of paper. One way to get rid of some of this extra ink that's on this pad is to take like an old credit card and run it across the edge of it to move some of the ink to the outer parts of it. And that's probably something I should do at some point. But like I said, we have more than 1 side of paper, and I use that extra side often. Okay, so let's now put this on the inside of our card. And card number 1 is finished. There we go. So the ink will fade just a little bit, and it won't be as dark as it continues drying. But that's our first card for tonight, and it's our monochromatic card. Now the second card we're going to make, our bonus card tonight, is going to look like this. And remember, I am going to be putting all the measurements of the cardstock in the comments, and it will be in the description on my YouTube channel. And it's also above on my, or below on my Facebook page in the reminder for tonight's live. So this is our next card that we're going to be making. So a Harvest of Blessings. I'm going to use some of that same designer series paper on the inside. I'm not going to do any stamping, but I am going to cut out this little tiny pumpkin. So, and I did stamp it just in case anything happened. So I've got my 1/2-inch strip of paper. So let's just start putting all of these pieces together. So it's going to be like that on the inside. So I'm going to start by putting some adhesive on that piece of designer series paper. I like to have it have a little bit of the white or whatever color is the cardstock's going on to be able to show. I'm going to use my bone folder to fold this 1/2 sheet of crumb cake cardstock. And this is going to go on the inside. You don't want to leave a naked inside, and you don't want to leave a naked envelope. So always be thinking about this. This was just a scrap, and instead of throwing away, it just looks really nice inside the card. And then I have the same piece of designer series paper. This designer series paper that I'm using tonight, both pieces came from them Bones. And it's just a really great fall and Halloween stamp set. I mean, designer series paper. So you get these beautiful plaids and the beautiful different, you know, just backgrounds, and then you get things like skeletons and bats and all those funny, you know, fun Halloween pieces. Okay, so let's start with the pumpkin. I am going to be using 3 different pumpkins tonight. 2 of them I'm going to be using in the Cajun Craze, and 1 I'm going to be using in pumpkin pie. So this one here, the smaller one, I am going to be stamping in pumpkin pie, and I'm going to be cutting it out. There we go. And I am going to also be stamping the stem in Early Espresso. So this is going to be a little bit more of a colorful card, in the sense that we're using more than just that Cajun Craze. And we're going to be pulling the colors out of the designer series paper. So, we'll put that right there. And then on this front piece, I am going to be stamping. Let me just close this stamp pad. I'm going to start with the greeting, which is a Harvest of Blessings. And this is a great card that you could be using for Thanksgiving or any other time. And that's going to go right at the top. There we go. And then that's it for this for right now. I'm going to go back to the Cajun Craze, and I'm going to ink up the large pumpkin, and it's going to go over here. And then the smaller pumpkin, this kind of middle-sized pumpkin, is going to go over here. That's it for our Cajun Craze. We're going to stamp in Early Espresso the stems on both of these. There we go. And then using Mossy Meadow, I'm going to be stamping the leaves and the vine. There we go. Now we can put this on the basic black cardstock. And this is going to go on the front of the card. Layers of paper is one way that I love to do my stamping. It just really makes just a beautiful card when you've got some different layers of stamped images, or in this case use the designer series paper. So on Tuesday night I'm going to be starting a 12-day set of videos. It's going to happen each night. Look in Facebook for what time it's going to start. I'm trying to figure out a time that I'm going to be able to be consistent with. I have a meeting this week that's supposed to go to 7:30, which is going to really put me home late, more like 8:30 or 9, so I might pre-record that one. But there we go. We've got the first pumpkin done. And now need to cut out the stem. But what I'm going to be sharing are the 12 days of Halloween. And so I have planned out 12 great projects using pretty much current, I think it's all current Stampin' Up! Materials, stamp sets, designer series paper, and all of that. So it's going to be fun, and we're going to be making all different kinds of things for treat boxes, for cards. I am even going to make a home decor item that you can use. So if you like Halloween, and you're going to love this series. And if it goes well, there will probably be a 12 days of Christmas right after it. So I'm going to add some adhesive, and this pumpkin is just going to go up and be on the front. So this is another way that you can show, in this case pumpkins, but an object in front or behind something. So the two cards that we made tonight are these two cards. We have a Halloween card and more of a Thanksgiving card. So we have the Harvest of Blessings, the Happy Halloween, the monochromatic card, and the card that has more of the designer series paper taking the show than just the individual color. So a couple of reminders. Next Sunday will be week 3. We'll just be doing one card and using this same stamp set. Friday night will be another Fun Fold Friday, and I'm going to be showing you a pretty incredible fold using the Oh Holy Night suite. I'm going to be using both stamp sets from that suite. And starting Tuesday night will be the kickoff for the 12 days of Halloween. It's probably going to happen around 8 o'clock at night. So be looking for an event posted on my page tonight or tomorrow. And don't forget to like my page, follow my page, and of course, say hello in the comments and tell me where you're watching from. I hope you have a great rest of the evening, and I'll see you either Tuesday, Friday, or next Sunday night. Good night, everyone. Bye-bye.